Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving into a really critical concept, something that underpins, well, pretty much all of modern cybersecurity, cryptographic agility. This is all about the strategy for surviving in a world where, believe it or not, digital secrets have an expiration date.
Okay, let's just jump right in with a pretty startling idea. Think about the encryption that's protecting your most sensitive data right this second. That protection, it's on a ticking clock. The math problems that keep it safe today, well, they're not going to keep it safe forever. And here's the thing. This isn't some far-off future problem. It is happening right now. Adversaries right now are collecting and storing today's encrypted data. They're basically hoarding it, making a bet that in the very near future, they'll get their hands on the technology to just crack it wide open. This is a huge immediate risk for any data that needs to stay secret for more than, say, 5 years. We're talking financial records, health data, even national security secrets.
So how in the world do you defend against a future threat that's already in motion? The answer isn't a stronger lock. It's actually a better system for changing the locks. And that answer lies in the strategic principle called cryptographic agility.
Okay, so let's break down what the National Institute of Standards and Technology, or NIST, is really saying here. At its heart, it's about building systems that can swap out their cryptographic engines, their algorithms, quickly, efficiently, and most importantly, without shutting the whole thing down. It's all about being proactive instead of reactive. And this is where you can really see the difference between the old way and the new way. The rip and replace trap, that's when a broken algorithm triggers this frantic, expensive fire drill of code changes and patches. But with agility, cryptography is treated more like a plugin. When a new, better standard comes along, you just configure the system to use it. It is literally the difference between a crisis and a planned update. Now, for a system to be truly agile, it needs to nail these 3 fundamental conditions. First up, interchangeability. You got to have a new algorithm that can do the same job as the old one. Simple enough. Second is diversity. Having different types of algorithms means if one design fails, you have a totally different fallback. And finally, and this is a big one, switchability. The cost in time, money, and sheer effort to make that change has to be low.
But look, this isn't just some abstract, theoretical problem. We have decades of history showing us exactly why agility is so incredibly essential. And the reason is simple. Every code, sooner or later, gets broken.
This quote just nails the core issue, doesn't it? I mean, from Caesar's simple shift cipher all the way to the Enigma machine, history shows this relentless cycle of invention and then cryptanalysis, code making and code breaking. To just assume that today's encryption is secure forever, well, that's a really dangerous bet to make.
And this dangerous, decades-long lag is a recurring theme. I mean, just take a look at DES. It was broken back in 1997, but its successor, 3DES, was only fully phased out in 2024. That's a 27-year window of vulnerability, all because our systems just weren't built to be agile.
And believe me, this isn't a one-time event. It is a recurring cycle of failure and replacement that affects every single type of algorithm we rely on, from symmetric ciphers like DES to hash functions like MD5 and SHA-1. And each time, the failure was predictable, but the transition was just painfully slow. All of this delay, it creates a form of debt. We call it cybersecurity debt. Every single day an organization continues to use a known vulnerable system, that risk just keeps piling up. It's like having a mortgage on your security that sooner or later is gonna come due. Okay. And now we get to the really big driver for change, the one threat looming on the horizon that makes cryptographic agility a non-negotiable, almost existential imperative for our digital security. We are talking about a totally new class of computers, once so powerful they can literally shatter the mathematical foundations that much of our current digital security is built on. The algorithms that protect e-commerce, banking, government communications, things like RSA and elliptic curve cryptography, they will be rendered completely useless. That number, 5 years, you really need to pay attention to that. It's the estimated lifespan of any sensitive data that's being collected today. If your secrets need to stay secret for longer than that, a quantum computer could one day unlock them, and that means your data is already at risk. So how do we cross this incredibly dangerous gap? We can't just flip a switch to the new quantum-resistant algorithms overnight.
So one of the key strategies is something called hybrid cryptography, which basically gives us the best of both worlds during this transition. It protects us from today's threats and tomorrow's.
And there are two main ways to do this hybrid approach. The layered approach is simpler. You just add a quantum-safe layer on top of what you already have. The composite approach, on the other hand, is more secure because it actually merges the keys together, forcing an attacker to break both the old and the new schemes. Each one has its trade-offs, of course, and a truly agile system has to be able to support these kinds of transitional strategies.
Okay, so the quantum threat makes this incredibly urgent, but the problem is entirely manageable if we have a clear strategic plan. This is not about panicking, it's about preparing.
So here's a 4-step framework that organizations can follow. It starts with discovery. You can't protect what you don't even know you have. Then you assess the risk to prioritize what you need to fix first. After that, you begin a phased migration, system by system. And finally, you set up continuous governance, because this is a process, not a project. It never really ends.
But the challenges aren't just technical. In fact, the biggest hurdles are often organizational. I mean, look at these numbers. A majority of organizations lack a dedicated budget. They lack the in-house expertise, and they don't even have a basic inventory of their own crypto assets. Agility requires investment in people and processes, not just shiny new technology.
And this brings us to a really crucial takeaway. Modern agility is not about creating some chaotic system that supports dozens and dozens of options. That actually just increases complexity and risk. It opens the door for attacks that can force you down to a weaker algorithm.
So instead, it's all about making a strong, secure, what we call opinionated choice today, while having the mechanism already in place to switch to the next strong choice tomorrow. It's about a planned, orderly evolution, not endless, chaotic flexibility.
And this really leaves us with one final thought. In a world where cryptographic failure is not a matter of if, but when, the only security that truly lasts is security that is built to change. Building for agility is, quite simply, building for survival.